make a little noise when we go live. You know how like on those talk shows.
Everybody behind Saliva right now.
Everybody, come on up a little bit, just for a minute, Come on, everybody.
From behind the back, get behind Hector and Saliva.
Just don't touch. Love it. All right.
All right, you ready? Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. You are live.
We are live. What's up, everybody around the world tuning in? This is the network special edition tonight because we're celebrating a good friend of ours, my man Saliva Commandos. 5-year anniversary of his label called In Command Records. 5 years. We're gonna talk about the history of the label, but first we're gonna start it off. You're gonna keep us nice and warm on this cold New York City night. Some beats. So without further ado, I'm gonna give it over to George. He's gonna keep it kicking it for 1 hour, and then we're gonna sit down and have a little interview and get to know him a little better. You know how we do. What's up, Kelly? How you doing, darling? All right. Matthew, what's up, baby? The Funktion House, we are here live. 5-year anniversary of In Command Records with George, Saliva Commandos. This is the network right here in Brooklyn, in Red Hook. Let's go. Let's do it.
my stuff, you better start to move your feet to the rockinest, rock steady beat of madness. and the metronome of your mind? Does it offend you that our rhythm looks strange or causes your thinking to be rearranged? Could it be that you would understand this beat to which we dance more clearly had you been given a chance? So as you struggle to find the feel with your feet, ask yourself, can you dance?
Alright, that's it. That's the sounds of George Saliva Commandos. Come on, y'all. Everybody feeling good? That's it. That's what we're doing, man. Celebrating my man George. Like I said before, a man dedicated to his craft. And that's why we are celebrating 5 years of In Command Records right here at the Funktion House on the network. Let's keep it going now.
one ship to the shore. Mothers crying for their young, swallowed up by the sea. This poem shall say nothing new. This poem shall speak of time, time unlimited, time undefined. This poem shall call names, names like Lumumba, Kenyatta, Nkrumah, Hannibal, Atherton, Malcolm, Garvey, Haile Selassie. This poem is vexed about apartheid, racism, fascism, the Ku Klux Klan, riots in Brixton, Atlanta, Jim Jones. This poem is revolting against first world, second world, third world, division, man-made decision.
Check. All right, everybody good? Everybody good? You good? You all warmed up? Yeah, that's it. Damn. Everybody's feeling good. What's that, Iz? You good? You having a good time? You got your drink on? Little Carlos, what's up, baby? Welcome to the show, as always. Want to give us big what's up to my man Iñaki Garcia, direct from Ibiza. Hello, Iñaki. We love to have you here with us. Everybody say hola, Iñaki. Then I got my crew over here. That's my crew right there. What up, Paul, Floor, and my girl Tweed. What's up, baby? I love you. Mwah. Thank you for always being here with us. We got my man Kervin Mark is in the house, hanging out in the back. He's keeping it warm. We got Steven. What's up, Steve? All right. Then we got Tito back there. We got Will back there. Who else? It's dark back there. There's so many people back there, but they're all hiding in the back, eating and drinking my liquor. But anyway, we are carrying on here for this 5-year anniversary. That's it. Oh, we got people in the front too. Oh, what's up, guys? We got Glenn Fisher. Oh, man, it's always a pleasure to have Glenn in the house with us. I hope you had a good show today, Glenn. What up, Mike? Mike Ivy in the house. What's up, baby? We got Michael. We got Anthony. Papa Anthony holding it down. That's it. What up, Matthew? You good? And for those that don't know, my name is Hector Romero, and I'm here with my girl, Kelly. We're holding it down today, celebrating 5 years of In Command with my man, Saliva Commandos. So check this out.
Amor.
Check it.
You got another woman somewhere
All right, now, come on, give it up for George Saliva Commandos. Yes, baby. Nice one, Bobby. He just wanted to keep playing. I know. As us DJs, right? We want to just keep playing. We're like, forget about who's around. We just want to keep playing. But once again, thank you again for tuning in this evening, and to our friends that are here this evening to this special edition of the network here at the Funktion House, because we are celebrating 5 years of In Command Records. 5 years, yo. It's a beautiful run. So let me set myself up here for my hot picks after. So
test. Oh, there's my voice.
Hey, George, how are you, man?
Hey, man. Thank you for doing this. This is
Oh,
great.
come on
Thank
now.
you so much, and you and Kelly and you guys
are,
hosting.
You are part of this family, so it's
Thank
not
you.
me doing this. You know, come on. This is us.
One,
right
two,
here.
I
That's
think.
what we do. You know, we have to give thanks to the guys at the
Of
Function House,
course.
because they're the ones that allow us to make this happen.
Absolutely.
So
Big
to
shout
Michael
to-
and Anthony.
Yes, of course, of course.
And Sal.
right.
Sal, that's a big part of the family here.
Salvatore.
So, because the people at home don't know what's happening behind the cameras, and listen, these guys work hard.
There's a whole production
yeah,
going
it's a whole
on.
production behind here.
Absolutely. So we have to give respect to them, because they do work hard setting this up. And then all the shows that go on here at the Function
Yes.
House, not just the network show. There's
Right,
many
of
shows
course.
that go on.
Oh, yeah.
Glenn Fisher, who did a 3-hour, what you did, 3
Wow.
hours today, Glenn?
Today, he was here earlier.
Glenn Fisher in
Glenn
the
Fisher,
house.
New York City legend.
You know, he's a true legend, man.
Absolutely.
Y'all know who Glenn Fisher is, right? What's up? Give it up, yo. Yeah,
we all
yeah,
listen
that's
to
right.
Glenn.
So. Right on, man. Much respect. We love you, Glenn. Thank you for being here today after your long set today and being here this evening with us. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Hi, Kelly. Nice to
Hi.
see you again.
As always.
Twice in less than 7 days.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, but for a good cause, right?
For a good cause. That's
so
right. We are
maybe not
celebrating.
necessarily conflict of interest, because I do the network with you, and now I'm here with my man George, a.k.a. Saliva Commandos,
Yep.
and the label that I'm so proud to be part of, In Command Records. So I
Awesome.
couldn't be more enthused and proud of you. I
Awesome.
could even be a
Thanks.
little emotional.
No, that's true. That's it.
Salute.
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone for coming. I mean, this is great. You know, when you celebrate something, I wanted to celebrate with Hector and Kelly and Matt in the Function House. I didn't expect a lot of other people to show up. So, thank you. I'm very humbled,
everyone that
humbled
came-
by it.
Yeah, on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
humbled by it. Thank you.
And now the winter's just kind of starting. It's
Yeah.
getting colder. People want to just stay home and Netflix it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
right.
They're here with you to celebrate you because you're a good person, bro.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, man.
And true
Thank
to
you.
his
And that's
craft.
first and foremost. Besides being talented, you're
Right.
a good person, and people want to help good people.
Awesome.
So and
Thank you.
support
Thank
good
you.
people. So yes, absolutely.
And shout out to
Congratulations.
those that
Thank
are
you, thank you,
tuning in
brother.
from home. I got to give a shout out to my homegirls, Jody, Dina, Diana.
Yeah.
Love you, girls.
There's a lot of people tuning in around the world as well.
Yep.
We thank you. And another thing, the next day, right away, we put the show up on YouTube. So to all those tuning in, please subscribe to the Function House YouTube page.
Yeah.
And click on that bell to subscribe to all the new shows that are going on over here at the
Right.
Function House. So on YouTube, the show will be live, and that's how we share what we're doing
And support.
here. And yeah, exactly.
And it's all part of supporting the whole integrity and
the movement.
and the movement of the music
If
industry.
we don't
right?
support, we don't move forward.
Right.
Exactly.
The support.
So,
Absolutely.
What we got for George? We got some questions to ask him.
You have
My
things to
goodness,
ask
'cause-
me?
Well, I
Really?
didn't run out of paper.
Yeah, yeah.
This is just me.
We were going through questions to ask
Wow.
you. And
Sorry,
Mama
there's this-
came up with a.
Yeah.
It's almost like I know this guy. I got all these questions for him.
And sadly, I had more than this. So
Really?
I feel like I'm kind of jipping you.
No,
but
you're
this man-
chipping them. No, I'm kidding.
I'm cheating everybody.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
This man has such a freaking bibliography, I can say, of music, and he's been doing this since the 90s. And people don't necessarily know that because look at him. He looks very, very young. He's very youthful. Don't roll your eyes at me. But he's been doing this for a long time, so it's kind of funny the reactions we get when we travel or when we're involved around other people in the industry. They're so like kind of surprised, like, wow, that was you? Like, I played your shit years ago, but they can't put the face to it because this man doesn't age.
Behind the beard.
He's hiding behind the
Yeah,
beard, which he can't
absolutely.
ever get rid of, just so you know.
Trademark.
Yeah, it is a trademark, and it is your brand, right?
Yeah.
And it looks good on you.
Thank you.
Can't get rid of it.
It keeps you warm in the winter.
It does.
It does, and
It does,
hot in the
it does.
summer.
It does.
My man got a beard back
He,
there.
he knows what's up. He has a
Yep,
beard.
everybody's rocking it. So as I usually do on the network show, for anyone who's been following and watching all the wonderful, talented DJs that come through these doors, and I'm so honored to be able to meet them, being such a fan and also being a musician. And now, most of all, to be able to interview this man right here, which I felt that one day would happen, right?
Oh, we're here.
So here we are. And as per usual with all of our guests, I have to ask them, where did it all start? And what was your evolution in music, whether it be at home or current artists of your day and your time? What moved you? What inspired you? And what influenced you musically?
Oh, wow. That's.
Oh, one more thing. And
Okay.
where were you originally from? Because that also takes a lot of precedence in
It
what was
does.
around you in your
Right,
environment.
in your influences, yeah.
Right.
I'm from the Bronx.
Beautiful.
BX all day.
Don't say that too loud. We're in Brooklyn.
It's all
Well,
right.
listen, I
That's
love
okay.
Brooklyn because back in the days, you know how it was, Bronx, Brooklyn.
Yep,
But now
yep.
we embrace Brooklyn. Brooklyn is amazing.
That's where it's at right now.
But yeah, but for me, it all started in the late '70s and into the '80s, and I'll give you the nutshell. I'm really part of the hip hop culture. That's how I started. I'm big fan of listening to Kiss FM and all those DJs, Red Alert and Mr. Magic, Rap Attack. So I was more into
Wow.
hip hop. So like moving into the house music or freestyle or that of whatever of the 80s, I wasn't there yet. I was just too busy trying to work on my timing because I always felt that was important for me. As a DJ, like the scratching, I always wanted to be like a battle DJ. That didn't work out. But I always I thought I could do tricks, and I didn't have that kind of speed. But I have some timing, and it worked out. But my influence as far as house music comes from my sister, who used to frequent the Paradise Garage, and she would go every Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was, and then she would come back And at the time, I was starting to DJ. We're talking about 1985, 86. And she would start bringing these records home. She would buy these records that Larry Levan would play at the Paradise Garage. And she would bring them home and start playing them. And I was like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. And I always remember like AEIOU, her playing that, Dominatrix, her playing that, and Man Friday, Love Honey, Love Heartache. That was like a big one for me, like the bass line. So at the time, I wasn't into house music, but my sister bringing these records home, I was listening to, and I really started to like them, so I started to steal her records, like we all do. You go into your sister's, or dad's bin, and you start stealing the records. And I started playing them. And that's how I started getting, like, my house timing, because I knew hip-hop and, like, scratching and all that. But that was the blending, listening to, then I started to move over to, like, house DJs, like, try to figure out, like, my timing. And I hope I answered your question.
Well, roundabout way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. But it's something else that I think is kind of important because it's very relatable to your sound is the fact that your background is Puerto Rican.
I'm Puerto Rican, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so yes, thank you.
Big up to Puerto Rico.
Boricua.
Yeah, Boricua's in the house.
So that influenced you musically too.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
100%, because as Heck knows, he's a product, and anyone who's from New York City understands this, that in New York City in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we listened to everything. And that's not taken away from this generation. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying that we're a product of that. And I could hang out 2690 Morris Avenue, big ups to the Bronx. I would hang out outside, and then the cars that would roll by were playing salsa, were playing reggae, were playing hip hop, and freestyle, because you wouldn't hear house music in someone in the car, but you would definitely hear freestyle. So I got everything. It was like a melting pot for me. So that's kind of my, where I got that, growing up in the city. And that could have been anywhere in Bronx, Brooklyn, but for me it was the Bronx.
Well, no, I'm just thinking that was a crazy time in music because so many amazing musical acts came out at that time. And so, like you said, it was the reggae, it was the freestyle, rock music. Don't forget rock music.
Absolutely.
I was into all that shit.
Absolutely.
And it was a pivotal time. And then it was crazy how some of these acts were blending together, like ACDC, Run DMC, and freaking Aerosmith.
Yeah.
That blew my mind watching MTV as a kid. I was like, wow, that really happened. But nowadays, you can see how the immersion and the blending of that just gives something so special and so different. And now so many people are like, yo, that would be so dope on a freaking house track.
Right.
Or that would be dope for a hip hop track, Just getting all those influences, Latin,
right.
reggae, everything blended together just makes it very, very different and special. But you definitely have an aptitude to play all those things. And what I hear all the time when you play, and I'll go back to your history, is that you always bring something old to the new because you know your music. So you can dig into the history of music and pull out some old classic tracks and bring it into something new and kind of fuck with people's minds because they're like, wait a minute, I remember that from when I was a kid.
Yeah. We get that a
but
lot.
But not all the time we get it. He's like the old to new. That's really amazing. Not a lot of people can do that.
I think that, okay, when I DJ, I don't want this to come off weird, but I get bored sometimes. So for me, I know it's not in a negative way. I need to keep the energy moving for me.
Right.
So for me, I'll mix the songs and the people are dancing and I'm not doing anything erratic that's gonna throw them off. But I have to throw in something else. There's always something else I have to throw in. Where the acapellas, of course he knows. That's where the acapellas come from. And I felt in my mind, I said, wow, it would be a great idea, a good fusion if I play new, but then bring in old acapellas and introduce that to the new audience. And
you mess with everybody's head.
Yeah, and the old school cats, because they're like, yo, I haven't heard that in years, but you played it over some nice drums and you made it sound like a remix.
Right.
But it's not a remix, it's me live. But yeah, I like to do that. I answer your question again?
This is going to be the whole interview.
I'm joking.
We don't communicate very well.
I'm being humorous.
And so going back to the history of everything that you've been exposed to and what you've done, at what point did you decide that you wanted to be a DJ?
Oh, wow. That goes way back. The first time I lived in the South Bronx, St. John's Avenue, and right across the street from my window, I'm not sure if it was Rocksteady or who it was, but there were DJs and they would set up and I would watch. It was like a film. You watch like a movie because I was too young to go on, but I just watched these guys and they would DJ and they would break dance. Now we're going back to 1978, 78, 79. Then my neighbors, and it's funny, I haven't told this story. I don't really share this story, but my neighbors, the guy's name, and I always remember his name was Lucan, and they had DJ equipment. And he would knock on the door and tell my mother, "Can your son come over so he could rap?" I was like, I can't rap. So I had the old school lemon to a lime rap. You know, you rap over good times. But I sat there and I was more fascinated with him cutting up good times, the break, than me trying to rap. And that was like the beginning for me.
Gee, a connection that I have with you goes back to the Bronx as well.
Yes.
Where at the record shop that you and I both worked at. That, and I was already gone from the record shop, but then you took over. But so George and I worked at this record shop called DJ Specialty Shop in the Bronx on Castle Hill Avenue.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was also upstairs was SOS Record Pool.
That's right. I forgot about the pool.
Rob Fernandez. Yeah. That's right. What's up, Rob? If you're around, good history there with Rob.
Armando.
And Armando. That's right. So yeah, it's incredible that we both. I didn't really know you then.
No.
But we had that.
But you would sell me records, which was insane. I would leave Hunter College and I would go see you like on a Tuesday. Right. And I knew you were there, you were working, and you were like, "You need this, you need that." So I would be like, "He knows best." And I would just buy.
No, that was that. We had a really good fan base of DJs that would come through. Sandy Rivero was a regular at the record shop even before he started producing.
Wow.
We were just selling him records.
Wow,
check this out, check it out.
Wow.
A lot of guys would come, but the Bronx was special as far as the record shop.
Right.
It was a big influence in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
We were pushing house music, which was very difficult to push in the Bronx.
Because it was more of a hip-hop freestyle culture.
Exactly.
Right,
So,
you know?
But we did well there. We had a good... You stayed there for about 2-3 years?
I stayed there for 4 years. Wow. So I felt that you left and there was about a 6-month period and I needed a job. And I knew that they were lacking there. And I said to myself, if I can get this job, I'll DJ all day. And that's what I did.
Wow.
I DJ'd all day. I was there for like 8 hours, just playing. I went through every vinyl. As a matter of fact, something very funny about that. That was my second university. Because what I was doing is studying all the producers, studying how they produced, but reading the credits. So I would read, who did this? Who's Louis Vega? Well, I kind of knew who he was. But like Kenny Dope, I didn't know who Kenny Dope was. But I knew he was doing a lot of hip-hop. So I would go through this, and then he started doing stuff on New Groove. And I was like, oh, wow, so this Kenny Dope guy is really good. And I kind of knew who Todd Terry was already because he had all his hits. So anything that would come through the store that was Todd Terry, you just buy. It was
true.
guaranteed.
Credits were great to read.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm still a big fan of reading credits. You know, I try to go on Discogs once in a while
for
the classics and check on credits. It's so important because the new generation, unfortunately, they don't really get to appreciate who produced those records.
Who's behind it? Who engineered it? Well,
who designed the artwork for that matter? Anything, just the smallest thing. So
and nowadays, it's only one person sometimes doing everything. So you read the
Command Records.
Thank you, Hector.
And that's why we're here because we want to talk about.
Right.
That's why we're here tonight. We want to talk about In Command because you pretty much are a one-man show. I mean, you got your team, Matthew and Kelly,
by the way, before I need to stop you, Hector, I just want to shout out Matthew because Matthew does all the video work.
Matthew.
I don't want to forget to shout out Matthew Cabret in Command. I just want to shout you out, man. All right.
And he's always so kind when he does come to the show, takes photos, and we really appreciate it because he's a true talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yes, about the label. Tell us how you decided to start In Command Records, and it's 5 years now this year.
Yeah, 5 years coming in. Yep, 5 years coming in.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I felt 5 years ago, actually 6 years ago, I just felt that you could only take so much of rejection of no, everyone telling you no. So I got a lot of no, your tracks are unfinished, they don't sound really produced. But to their defense, at the time, I wasn't mastering my stuff. So I was just sending out a demo that was probably mixed okay. And I understand that because I learned from that. In the last 5 years, I learned from that. But I felt that was like my tipping point. I said to myself, and I sat down mentally to myself, and I said, okay, if we're going to make this happen, you need to start your own record label. You need to take full control of everything. Because I was kind of involved with other people, but it wasn't working out for me. So I felt if you try to one thing that's very important, that if you try to spread yourself out, you never get anything done. And I was doing that, and that was one of my biggest failures. So I learned from that. So what I decided to do was I said, you know what? I am going to create my own label. I know film production. I have a bachelor's from Hunter College film production. I know how to edit video. I don't know graphics too much, so I hired someone to create the logo. Rocco Design, so big up to Rocco for creating the logo. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna wait on anyone. I'm gonna do everything. I found a mastering company, and I just started. I got a distribution deal through Label Works, and it all happened kind of fast. I was like, wow, this is actually really happening. You know, and then the other thing was I was very sure of what my talents were. I was just like, the world just needs to hear them. They need to hear the song. So now I could put them out whenever I want it, how I want it. And the world reacted, you know, in a positive way. I'm fortunate that way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for
you
sure.
know? And just to say, like with Matthew, like I remember Matthew and I, we would go out to the clubs. We went to your events many a times. And I told Matthew, you know, the way we're going to build this is that you and I, we're going to go out and we're going to meet everyone. We're going to do all the footwork that I was failing to do. And then you're going to document all my gigs. I told Matt, that's going to be your job and in command, because he was into the video work. So Matthew was like, bet. Right? So we started going out, and I started slowly but surely building the label and building my DJ career. So Matt would start to document everything. Then I met Kelly. And then I was like, yo, Kelly had the Brazilian, she has the Brazilian background. And I remember Kelly many a time saying, you have to use my talents. I can play the piano.
I'm a pianist.
I was like, well, I'm not looking for
Forever.
anyone to do that right now, because I do everything. Yeah. I do everything myself. I'm big into sampling. I could, you know, but I remember one time, and I'll tell this story about Promesa. We'll talk about Promesa quickly, that I had 3 songs that I made, and I like to work in batches. Because I feel like I'll work in batches, and like I'll do 4 songs in like 4 days, and they all kind of have that same vibe. And I play some for her. And I remember I played Promesa for you, and you were like, oh, this is dope. I said, you want that track? And she was like, yeah. I said, but not for the piano. I said, no. I said, let's do a talking song. But she came up with the melody for Promesa, so that was all her, and that was the magic of that.
I also said something that you failed to say, and that's okay. I've been in the music industry and around for a very long time as well, frequenting all of the clubs in the golden era, as I've always called it, Tunnel, Limelight, Club USA, at a very young age. But I know music, and I said to you, George, you know what? No one is doing Afro-Brazilian in New York right now.
Absolutely.
I think we need to put our footprint in there, because no one's doing it. Everything is either Spanish, maybe a little French, maybe a little Italian, but not Brazilian house. And Brazilian influence is huge in many, many markets, because it's very percussive. It's got a world sound and very easy on the ears, right? Very sexy to listen to, because the language is very sonorous, very musical sounding. So I said, you know what? You need to use me, and we need to do something different. I said, you've got the talent right here. I play piano, I write music, I can sing, and let's put our minds together. And he goes, but I don't need the keys. I'm like, damn. I went to school for 13 years studying piano, no keys. All right, he goes, I need you to sing. Oh, okay.
Ding, ding, ding. No.
Bastard. But it worked.
Oh, absolutely.
It worked.
I think that Promesa was great, because that opened more doors.
That was one of my favorites, absolutely.
Oscar G loved it, and he did his own remix.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely. Great
Hi,
record.
OG.
How many releases are you up to now?
Thank you.
50, I think it's 53 right now. 53. Yeah, we're going to do 53 with Amor Sol de Agosto. I try to do 1 a month. That's kind of like...
So for the most part, it's the 53 have been your records? You're not signing stuff from outside
You know what? I tried that at the beginning, and I felt that I didn't want to... First of all, I created the label to kind of enhance my career.
Of course.
You know, so I want to help myself out, and I felt that was really working, and that if I started getting involved with other artists, I really didn't want to get involved in the clerical work, or you owe me royalties. I was like, oh, God, I really don't want to get involved in that. Yeah. So I said, I'm just going to do 100% strictly Saliva Commandos. So when you see the label, you know, oh, that's Saliva. You know?
Are you getting demos? People asking, I want to
Yeah,
put
and
stuff on you?
absolutely.
You're getting the emails and
And
stuff
they
like
send,
that?
and I
Okay.
always have to say I apologize, but
Oh,
I'm
right
not
on,
accepting.
okay.
Yeah, but I do
Right on.
get a lot, yeah.
Speaking of Saliva Commandos, can you please break down the reason and how you came up with the name?
I was gonna say, I was gonna ask that
The
question.
name. Saliva Commandos. Okay, the story,
ready for
believe
the
you me,
story.
you guys are going to get bored with the story, but I'm going to share it anyway.
Share the story, please.
So back in, listen, I've had many monikers. So I was G Bravo on Progressive High Records back in the late 90s, and I used to be DJ George B. That was my name. DJ George B. My first name is George. My last name doesn't start with B. I grabbed that because when I started to DJ, I saw Eric B and Rakim. I said, hey man, Eric B, that's a cool name. I'll be George B. That's how I became George B.
Right on.
But in 96, I was hanging out with a friend who's not in the industry at all, not music related, and we were drinking, and we were watching the movie Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right. So I know this. I'm telling you, I'm gonna ruin the Saliva Commandos name right now for you. So I'm gonna disappoint you. So we decided to go out, and we were driving, and drinking and driving is not a good thing. But in the 90s, it was a different era. So a different era. So we were out drinking, and then he was so drunk that he put the name Saliva and Commandos together. And I heard it, and I was like, wow, if I make music, I said, I'm going to use that name. So I didn't create the name. It was my friend. So I held on to it. Okay. And then when I moved forward into, like, I was George B for a while, and then when I was going to release Serial Buff, I decided that's when I'm going to bring the name out. And I brought out the name Saliva Commandos, and
There it is.
and here we are, Saliva.
From a drunk night.
From a drunk night, Saliva Commandos.
Big, big,
There's
big.
the name.
The worst decisions are made when you're drunk.
when you're drunk.
Yeah.
Saliva Commandos. Go figure.
Oh, liquor.
Oh my God, what it does to you. And I'm here now.
Right on, man.
Very funny.
Right on,
And the
man.
rest is history.
The rest is history.
Absolutely.
Here we are.
But it's memorable for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Well,
right? There's only one Saliva Commandos.
You're right, but I've had a lot of people say change that name, but I just stuck to my guns. I said no, it's like the Basement Jacks, like Daft Punk. So I said no, I'm keeping it.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah,
no,
and
no,
here I
no.
am.
It works. It works, really. It works.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So
What else you got,
you just
Kelly?
mentioned something that just spiked a question in my mind, which I believe I did capture. Serial Buff. So that
Yes.
was kind of your breakthrough track that
Yeah.
exposed you to the market, right?
Yeah, that was
And that was 90.
that was 1997.
7.
And it was signed to a white label because they had a sample in it. But I have to, be upfront that the song, I had the entire song laid out, all the drums. And back then, I worked on an MMT8 sequencer, and I had 2 Casio FZ1s that held about 16 seconds of sampling time. But I sampled all my drum kicks from other records, Junior Vasquez. All his kicks and his drums and all that, I grabbed and I created this song. And a friend of mine, Fernando Baez, shout out to Fernando Baez, had a sample from the movie Serial Mom, and he heard the song. He said, this would fit perfect on that song. So I grabbed it, held onto the CD. He came back the next day, and I played it for him. Had the phone call. It went into the 212. Fuck you. He was like, that's amazing.
Also known as Miss Fernando.
As Miss Fernando. So because he gave me the CD, I said, you know what? I'll go in half and half with this. Like you produced it as well, and you and I together will be the Saliva Commandos. So the record was called DJ George B and Miss Fernando are the Saliva Commandos. If you have the vinyl, Well, hence the plural, hence the big shout to Glenn Fisher.
Yeah,
there you go.
we were just talking about
So
that.
hence the plural. There were 2 of us for briefly, very briefly, and then the song was released on a white label, and I'll never forget this. I went to 8 Ball Records on a Sunday morning. Anthony Martinez from Future Primitive, who was signed to Groovalicious. I was there, it must have been in the afternoon. He was coming back from Twilo. And he goes, Junior Vasquez just played your song. I go, what song? He goes, the 212, fuck you. He goes, he played it twice. He went back, and when it was done, he played it again. And that was the rest. It opened a lot of doors for me. Opened a lot of doors for me. So I'm very thankful to that song.
And again, this was all done on the In Command label.
No, this
it?
this was signed to a label back in a white label. It was a white label
Okay, it was
because
a
of the
because-
sample
because
couldn't
of the
get cleared.
sample.
Right, yeah.
And you probably had to do that more than once, right?
I did that many times.
Hey, G, so you got the label and you're doing your thing. You're also producing for other people and remixing for other labels as
Yes,
well?
yes.
Any projects that you want to tell us about right now?
Well, right now, I mean, I can talk about some past things that I recently did. I did a couple of remixes for Juicy Music for Robbie Rivera.
Robbie Rivera, yeah.
Addictive, and I forgot the name of the other track. I'm sorry, someone help me out. Anyway, whatever. And I did one of my biggest pieces of work in the last 6 months. That I had a collaboration with Roger Sanchez, which was amazing. You know, Roger reached out and
yeah, he's been a big supporter of
he's
yours.
Tremendous, and a friend too.
And
yeah.
if I can just share some light on that,
Yeah.
like in the industry, it's hard. This industry is hard, and you really need support. And for a very long time, in my mind, I thought, oh, someone's gonna help me out. Some big DJ has to help me out, and it never happens. And I don't know how. It's just weird the way things stumbled into Roger. Well, actually, it was Danny Rampling who connected me to
Danny Rampling
Roger.
made the
So I have to
introduction,
shout out Danny Rampling.
Yep.
But big shout out to Danny Rampling. So Danny Rampling, I reached out to Danny Rampling because he was playing one of my songs. So this is good advice to people in the industry. You can reach out to people on social media. It's very easy. And guess what? Sometimes they reply back. So I knew that Danny Rampling was playing one of my songs. I reached out to him. He reached out back and showed me mad support. Was like, I'm a big fan of yours. I was like, wow, that's great. So then I reached out a week later. I said, listen, Danny, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to, if you can help me out, I'm trying to get on some radio shows. He said, do Roger's show. I said, I don't know Roger. He said, hold on. An email came in, and it was Roger and Danny and me in the email. He goes, Roger, this is Saliva. He's an amazing talent from New York City. Roger writes back, I know exactly who he is, and the rest is history.
Nice. We like that.
5
Yeah.
EPs later on his label.
And the rest is history, man. So
Yep.
Right on.
I think that people need to hear those stories
Yeah.
because it inspires people.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know?
No, that's great, man.
Because
I
if
love
a
it.
boy from the Bronx can do this, anyone can.
Listen, but you have to work hard. It's not
yes,
easy.
yes.
You have to
Right.
put in the time. You have to work hard.
Lord knows you
You
have.
guys carry on for a minute. I'm going to set
Yeah.
myself up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have too much time, but
Right.
Yep.
you
I'm
know.
sorry. I wrote
please.
like
No, it's
20
okay.
million
You
questions.
guys carry on, carry on.
You could ask. But yeah, you know, the whole Danny Rampling, Roger Sanchez. Roger Sanchez for me has been, I don't want to say instrumental, but he's been a huge supporter.
Absolutely.
And he's.
I think that he's also been able to give you that extra courage and that extra push because he can validate because he's massive. He's major.
Absolutely.
He's been around. He
Yeah.
knows his stuff. He's also New York bred. So that
From
says
Queens,
a lot
yeah,
too,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And still a supporter and just a real human. So big up to you, Roger.
Big shout out to Roger Sanchez and Under the Radar
Yep.
because they're in
Yep.
Stealth Records. They've been good to me.
That's it.
Yep,
That's
yes,
it.
they
That's
have.
it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
my
you for
friend.
having me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone
Thank
that's
you
here
everyone
tonight.
for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kelly.
They stayed really
Thank you,
quiet in the background. I like that. It's a good audience tonight.
Yo, you guys are like
good,
great because most of
We
our
had a
network
good
shows are
audience.
like,
Usually
please
everyone's-
quiet down.
Yeah, we had a good interview. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right on, man. Exactly. It's true. That's true. We do miss Buddha tonight. So thank you once again and continued success.
So much, brother.
Keep
Thank
it
you.
going.
For
You
the
know
love.
you
Thank
have our support always.
Thank you. Thank
We
you. Thank you to the
appreciate
Funktion House, Michael and Anthony. Big love. Big love.
Yes, yes, yes. So normally after the interview, what we usually do is I go into the segment called the Network Hot Picks.
Yes.
But I try, because this is a special edition tonight, I'm not doing 5 new records. What I decided to do today is pick 5 records that you have worked on that I personally have liked.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Thank
I'm
you.
going to feature 5
Thank
records
you.
that
Thank you so
you have
much.
worked
That's
on.
awesome. That's
So
awesome.
these are my hot picks in tribute of In Command Records and
Thank you
use
so much.
Saliva Commandos.
Thank you, thank you,
But
thank you.
before I move forward, I have a couple of things to mention. Of course, I just want to say what's up to Christina Visca, who threw an amazing 2-year anniversary party at LeBain Sunday night. The Birdcage party was amazing. Myself, Manny Ward, Jeffrey Chang, Steve Travolta, and myself, we had a great time. So big shout out to Christina. We love you. Thank you so much. I also want to say to all my people and friends and fans that are in San Francisco, I'm coming out there to play this coming Saturday in San Francisco for a beautiful benefit in memory of Frankie Knuckles. It's called the Frankie Fest, and myself, Eric Cupper, and Kenny Summit are going to be playing this Saturday at a place called F8. So look out for that. If you're in San Francisco in the Bay Area, please look out for that. And then, of course, one of my big gigs that I'm really proud of that I'm doing November 30th is like a big reunion. It's the La Mirage, which is one of the clubs I used to play at in the Bronx many, many years ago, almost 30 years ago. So Saturday, November 30th, if you're in the Bronx and want to come out and hear me play some freestyle, some classics and stuff like that, please come join me. Saturday, November 30th in the Bronx. We've been preparing big time for that gig, so I'm really looking forward to that. What else we got on the agenda? Then on Sunday, the day after December 1st, I want to say what's up to Kervin. Kervin, my man Kervin, he's here tonight hanging out. He's doing his Melting Pot NYC reunion party. I got the names right? So this is taking place Sunday, December 1st at the amazing Public Records Club in Brooklyn. So please join us. It's a daytime event. What time we starting? 6 p.m. and we're going into the evening that night. So at Public Records, if you guys have not been to this beautiful club, it has one of the most amazing sound systems in New York. So please come down for that reunion party. The Melting Pot party is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. So who's on the bill that night? We got Ali Coleman, Kamala, yourself, and myself as a special guest. I'm really excited. Thank you for having me, man. Looking forward to that for sure. So what else we have? And then I want to mention once again, please, the shows, we stream them the next day right away on YouTube. If you can, please log on to the YouTube page, the Funktion House YouTube page, subscribe, and check that little bell to get all the new shows that we put up every week and every month for the network show. So I guess that's pretty much it for now. Oh, wait, I must say that we're back here for the Christmas show with Tony Touch on Wednesday, December 18th, and that'll be episode 21. We're getting there. 21 episodes, and our 3rd anniversary Christmas party. So, and for anybody that likes coquito, we're having a coquito contest. So if you know somebody that makes some good coquito, please bring it that day and enter the contest. So I'm not sure who's gonna judge just yet, but get ready for that. So anyway, let's get into the network hot picks for the Saliva Commandos show. And here we go, I guess. Why not? Let's go. Are we up on this? George, what line were you on over here? Yeah, we're... No. Nope.
Oh, is this you or?
Yeah, that's mine.
Why is that coming up? Technical difficulties?
Technical?
Some digital, right?
Let's see. Stand by 1 second. We'll do this deck. We fell offline? What happened? I got this deck. Oh, here we go. All right, why not? All right, so let's start. So this one, you did this in 2014. So this was one of my favorites with, it's called Breaking These Chains, and it was featuring Michelle Rivera, who's been here on the show a couple of times. She's been here to hang out with us. So this is one of my favorites that you did back in 2014. And this came out on Soul Channel, on Mr. V's label. That's right, yeah, so yeah, let's get into it. right. So that's number one. Hey, I just want to say we got about another 10 so minutes. Please stay for the group photo. We take a group photo at the end of the show, so please don't leave without taking a group photo. I appreciate that. All right, so number two. This is this is 2016. Saliva, you produced this record called Afro Church, and I remember playing this at Cielo. As Cielo was, this is one of my favorites as well. Oh, yeah. That was just a hypnotizing track. I love that one. Yeah, man, for sure. All right, so we're going to get into number 3 right now of one of my favorite Saliva Commando records. This is also around 2016, I believe it was, and it's called Plena Tech. Yeah. That's a hot one. That's a hot one. I'm gonna have to play that again real soon for sure. So you've done a lot of records that I really love, but because we're limited to 5, I wanted to shout out the new one that you just sent me because it really now is one of my favorites of yours. No, it's called Days of Oi? Days of Old. Days of Old, forgive me. Anyway, so I played it Sunday at LeBain and it rocked big time. So, yes, man, you got a good one here. So let's play this one. All right, so before we get into number 5, let's get everybody over here for the photo, and we'll go into it. Come on, everybody. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Yeah, record. You gonna divulge the sample? He's like, no, I'm not getting in trouble. Anyway. Come on, Glenn. Come on, Mike. Come on, guys. Come over here. So, number 5, it brings me back. Number 5 is just one of my favorite records that he's produced because it took me back to the summer of 2017 where I was able to play this record a lot that year. So, let me get into this one right here. And we were talking about this one, but Promesa is one of my favorites by these two right here. For sure. So, who's going to take the photo? Matthew?
Vem pra cá, senhor. Fica aqui do meu lado. Não me abandonado. Senta aqui, segura a mão. Chega aqui, fica do meu lado. Meu peito tá inchado. Tu me fez uma promessa e não acreditar. Tu me fez uma promessa e não acreditar. Você me fez uma promessa e não acreditar. Porque não posso. Vem pra cá, senhor. Fica aqui do meu lado. Não me abandonado. Senta aqui. aqui, segura a mão. Chega aqui, fica do meu lado. Meu peito tá inchado. Se me fez uma promessa, não acredita. Que me fez uma promessa, não acredita. Você me fez uma promessa, não acredita.
Well, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys December 18th for Tony Touch. Wednesday, December 18th. And for all my friends that want to come out to the La Mirage reunion party, tickets are on sale on Eventbrite. Just look up La Mirage on Eventbrite. So that's it. Thank you once again. This is 5 years of In Command. Saliva Commandos. This is the network here at the Funktion House. And we'll see you in 1 month. Ciao.